the void before time. Picture absolute nothingness, not darkness, not emptiness, true void. Before time itself drew its first breath, there was only Ometeotl, the god of duality, floating in the endless nothing. Both male and female, light and dark, chaos and order existed within this primordial deity. Imagine a consciousness so vast, so complete, that it contained within itself all possibilities, all futures, all potential. In this nothingness, the greatest story ever told was about to unfold, a tale of creation, destruction, and rebirth that would shape the universe as we know it. The void wasn't silent, it hummed with the potential of everything that would ever be. The birth of the gods. From Ometeotl's very essence emerged four sons, the Tezcatlipocas, born in the highest heaven, Ometeotl. These divine beings, each representing a cardinal direction and a distinct color, would become the architects of everything. The blue Tezcatlipoca became Quetzalcoatl, the god of war and the south, his spirit as fierce as the midday sun. The black Tezcatlipoca ruled the north, night, and sorcery, his obsidian mirror reflecting all the secrets of the universe. The red Tezcatlipoca, Zyptotat, governed the east and agriculture, understanding that life requires death to flourish. And the white Tezcatlipoca, Quetzalcoatl, would become the most famous of all, the feathered serpent of the west, bringing wisdom and civilization. These divine siblings weren't just powerful, they were competitive, creative, and sometimes destructive. Their relationships were complex, filled with alliances and rivalries that would shape the destiny of all creation. Each had their own vision for how the universe should be, and none were willing to compromise easily. The failed sons. Now, here's where things get really interesting. These gods weren't exactly perfect on their first try, or their second, or their third, or even their fourth. Each attempt at creating a world ended in spectacular disaster, each more dramatic than the last. Let me paint you a picture of these failed experiments. The first sun, ruled by the black Tezcatlipoca, was populated by giants. They were mighty but flawed, and their world ended when massive jaguars, unleashed by rival gods, devoured everything, even the sun itself. Imagine a world where shadows came alive and hunted the light. The second sun, under Quetzalcoatl's guidance, saw humanity transformed into monkeys. This world was destroyed by hurricane winds so powerful they ripped the mountains from the earth. The few survivors fled into the forests, explaining why monkeys now live in trees. The third sun, governed by the rain god Tlaloc, burned in a rain of fire. Volcanic eruptions covered the sky, and the people of this era were transformed into birds to escape the inferno. Their world ended in ash and flame. The fourth sun, ruled by Tlaloc's wife, Calqueutlicu, drowned in a massive flood that lasted 52 years. The people became fish, but even they couldn't survive when the sky itself collapsed into the sea. The sacred sacrifice. The gods realized something crucial. To create a lasting world, they needed a sacrifice of unprecedented magnitude. At Teotihuacan, the ancient city of the gods, they gathered for the most important ceremony in cosmic history. The divine assembly chose two candidates, Nana-Watson, a humble, sickly god covered in boils, and the proud, beautiful Tezcatlipoca. A great fire was built, burning so hot it distorted the fabric of reality itself. Tezcatlipoca, despite his boasts, attempted to jump 4 times but retreated in fear. Then Nana-Watson, without hesitation, leaped into the flames. His courage and sacrifice transformed him into the sun. Shamed by this display of bravery, Tezcatlipoca finally jumped as well, becoming the moon. The fifth sun's dawn. But there was a problem. The new sun wouldn't move. It hung motionless in the sky, its heat threatening to destroy everything. The gods realized they needed to sacrifice themselves to set the cosmos in motion. What followed was perhaps the most selfless act in all of mythology. One by one, the gods offered their blood, their hearts, their very essence to give life to this new creation. The wind god Quetzalcoatl began to blow, starting the sun's motion across the sky. This divine sacrifice established the pattern that the Aztecs would follow. The belief that blood sacrifice was necessary to keep the universe functioning, as they were literally continuing the work of the gods themselves. The creation of Earth. From the body of a great earth monster, Tezcatlipoca, the gods crafted the world itself. This wasn't a peaceful process. It was a cosmic surgery performed without anesthesia. Mountains rose from her bones, rivers flowed from her tears, and flowers bloomed from her skin. Her hair became trees and grass. Her eyes became wells and springs, and her mouth became caves and crevices. The monster's body became everything we know as Earth, but this transformation came at a price. Tezcatlipoca remains alive, hungry, and in constant pain. This is why the Earth sometimes shakes, earthquakes, and demands blood sacrifice. She's crying out for nourishment to ease her eternal suffering. The divine blood. The gods weren't done yet. They needed to populate this world with beings who could worship them and continue their work. Quetzalcoatl, the feathered serpent, volunteered for perhaps the most dangerous mission in cosmic history, a journey to the underworld, Mictlan, to retrieve the bones of previous creations. This wasn't just a simple retrieval mission. Mictlan's ruler, Tezcatlipoca, set up a series of challenges that would make modern escape rooms look like child's play. Quetzalcoatl had to navigate 9 levels of the underworld, each more treacherous than the last. He had to evade supernatural traps, solve impossible riddles, and finally convince the Lord of Death to release the precious bones. Birth of humanity. Using these ancient bones and their own blood, the gods finally created humans. But here's the twist. They didn't just make one version. They made several attempts, improving their creation each time, like divine scientists in a cosmic laboratory. The gods ground the bones into fine flour and mixed it with their own blood. Quetzalcoatl and his brother Xochitl worked together, shaping the mixture like divine sculptors. Each version of humanity was an improvement on the last, but also inherited the gods' own flaws and virtues. This is why, according to Aztec belief, humans are capable of both great nobility and terrible destruction. Cosmic balance. The Aztecs believed that the universe existed in a delicate balance, far more complex than simple good versus evil. The sun's daily journey wasn't just a natural phenomenon. It was a battle between light and darkness, with the fate of humanity hanging in the balance. Every sunrise was a victory, but never a final one. This cosmic balance extended to every aspect of life. The gods themselves embodied this duality: creation and destruction, life and death, order and chaos. Nothing was purely good or evil. Everything had its necessary place in the grand scheme of things. The Great Flood. Just when things seemed stable, chaos returned in the form of a great flood. Water rose until it reached the sky itself, threatening to destroy everything the gods had created. Only 2 humans survived, Tata and Nene. They found refuge in a hollow log, floating on the endless waters. But they disobeyed the gods by cooking fish during the flood, and the smoke rising to the heavens angered the divine beings. As punishment, they were transformed into dogs, though they were later restored to human form. This story served as a reminder that humanity's relationship with the gods required constant vigilance and respect. The World Tree. At the center of this new world stood a great tree, connecting the 13 heavens above and the 9 levels of the underworld below. This wasn't just any tree. It was the axis mundi, the cosmic axis keeping the universe in order. Its roots reached deep into Mictlan, the underworld, while its branches held up the various levels of heaven. Each level had its own rulers, its own purpose, and its own challenges. The world tree served as a highway for gods and spirits, allowing them to travel between the realms. The 5 ages. Each previous world was an age, or sun, and we live in the 5th sun. Each age had its own people, its own gods, and its own way of being destroyed. The Aztecs kept detailed records of these ages, understanding that each one taught important lessons about the nature of existence. We're currently in the Age of Movement, or Allen, ruled by Tonatiuh, the sun god. This age is characterized by constant motion and change, but also by the threat of earthquakes and destruction. The previous ages serve as reminders of the precarious nature of existence and the importance of maintaining cosmic harmony. Prophecy of destruction. The Aztecs believed that the 5th sun would end in earthquakes, and the world would be devoured by sky monsters called Tzitzimime. These terrifying beings were said to hang in the sky, waiting for the moment when the world's balance would fail. Unlike previous destructions, this one might be final. The Aztecs believed that only through proper ritual, sacrifice, and maintaining the cosmic order could this destruction be delayed. Every eclipse was a reminder of this potential doom, as the Tzitzimime were believed to be visible during these celestial events. Legacy of creation. This isn't just a story about how the world began. It's a warning about how it might end, and a guide for how to live in the meantime. The Aztecs saw creation not as a single event, but as a cycle of birth, death, and rebirth. They believed that only through sacrifice and vigilance could the world continue to exist. In their vision, we're all part of this cosmic drama. Every sunrise is a battle won. Every sacrifice a thread in the fabric of existence. The gods gave their blood to create our world, and in return, they asked for our dedication to maintain it. As we look at our modern world, with its own cycles of creation and destruction, perhaps there's wisdom in this ancient tale. The Aztecs understood something profound, that existence itself is precious, precarious, and worth fighting for. They saw the universe as a living thing, constantly in need of nurturing and care. And who knows, maybe as you're reading this, somewhere in the cosmos, the gods are watching, wondering if their latest creation will be the one that finally gets it right.